Today, we're going to talk about two secrets on defense that not a lot of players know in Madden 26. Flip, 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 flip. You guys know how the game goes. Compression, bunch X nasty, bunch strong nasty, bunch tight end, trips tight end. People come out, they flip right away. There's a narrative out there that says nickel defenses can't be run because you have to flip that nickel corner with the trips at all times. And you can't even move those players, right? Wrong. I'm going to be showing you today why that narrative is overblown and it's dated and it's said by people who haven't actually labbed on defense in Madden 26. And if you guys stick around, I'm going to show you guys a secret that's going to make your blitzing so much more effective, and nobody's talking about this one either. So hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, grab out your pen and pad, and let's get into it. So let's start this off with a 10 out of 10 tip that will get you stops and game-changing pick sixes. I promise you. I posted this on X a little bit ago. We're just going to break it down within the context of what I'm trying to explain here. I'm going to show you guys how to deal with the RPO bubble out of the bunch tight end, which is a very flippable play that so many players will run. So when we break the huddle here, a lot of players will say, oh, I could run this bubble screen, and then they'll throw it, they'll catch the blocks, and pick up, a gain of 12. It's free, stealing yardage. What a lot of players will also do is if you go to the lengths of like trying to move people around to like try to defend it, and all of a sudden the offense sees that you've overextended your defense to the perimeter, they flip their play and they'll quick snap it on the other side. Now, there used to be a rule in Madden and also college football where anybody you moved on the defensive side of the ball would not be impacted by any flips, shifts, crashes, anything that you would make with your defense, meaning that because I moved the linebacker and because I moved the nickel corner, if I flip the defense, they will stay put where they're at, which is really, really problematic. This has led to a lot of people saying that the only types of defenses that you can run are defenses that have two slot corners. So a dime defense, 3-2, 3-2 mug, dime rush. Those types of defenses where you have slot corners on both sides are the only way to deal with people who flip. And that's totally bunk in Madden 26. So allow me to show you guys how we pick off this bubble screen. So one of the things that I teach is that you want to call a defense with a slot corner. You want to put that player into a hard flat. You want to move him to the inside and you move someone else outside. It could be the linebacker moved outside, or you could leave this linebacker in the box and move this safety down. I've done this tip here on the channel. If you haven't seen it before, again, more reason to subscribe to the channel because I've got a lot of stuff that's gonna help you guys out. But when we go ahead and snap this ball, you're gonna have this hard flat that's gonna hang out, be unblocked, and you're gonna be able to basically have a pick six so long as you're not caught by a running back or the quarterback. But if this were an old Madden, this tip would absolutely suck because what I would see from an offensive perspective is my opponent setting up this defense and I would just flip my play in quick snap. Well, guess what? Now on defense, if you just flip the play by hitting X or square and then right trigger, guess what? Everyone you move goes to their new spot, which means that this guy sprints, I can move him to his new spot, and I can set up this defense on the other side of the field. If they want to flip the other direction to be a pain in the ass, I'm just going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. Boom, boom. They try to quick snap me, and guess what? They just threw a pick six. So all that trouble of trying to flip is just going to end up in six the other way, regardless of whether or not you're in a nickel defense. So a lot of people just think that you move a player, they will not respond to your adjustments. It actually gets way deeper than this, okay? Let's say my opponent is abusing me in the flat with a quick running back route. For instance, I'll just kind of snap this ball and show you that this quarter flat sometimes gets out leveraged. But let's say in this case, Anzalone did a fine job. Let's say he wasn't, just hypothetically. And I wanted to move him out to the flat more. Then all of a sudden, I decide late in the play, maybe my opponents do something like they motion the running back across. So now we have 4 to the other side. It doesn't make sense for me to be defending the running back flat to the right now that he's on the left. I don't have to do anything other than shift or reset the unit. So I can do a linebacker shift, which is right on the D-pad, and then you can choose to shift them left, right, pinch, or spread with the left analog stick, meaning that if I tap left, guess what? Here comes Anzalone back to his new spot. Okay. The other thing that I could do if I move this guy is I could do what's called a unit reset. And this is a little bit of a hidden adjustment, but check this out. If I hit right and then I hit left trigger to clear shift, this takes him back to the default position. So let's say that you just wanted him back in default position. That's a cool adjustment. Especially when you're comparing that to like, I move him out here and then I want, oh, I don't want him there. And then you shift left, that might put him in a different spot. In this particular case, in this formation, Not much of a difference between resetting or clearing and shifting, okay? And the same can be said for Campbell. If I move him all the way out here, now I'm like, oh snap, I don't want him there. Guess what? Shifting the linebackers puts him back in a better spot, or resetting your shift will move people back to their original spot as well. So you can use this unit reshift or clear to basically move players that you've already moved, which is huge. Here's the really cool part. This also applies to your nickel corners. So let's say for whatever reason, I'm in a coverage where I've got this corner on the outside in a soft squat because I'm expecting some sort of stem down corner or something. And I move him out wide, and then all of a sudden my opponent flips, they do something that I don't like. Now all of a sudden I don't like that corner being all the way out there. He's not impacting the tight end. I don't want to change the coverage I've set up, but I want him back in his spot. All you're going to do is hit triangle, and then there's no button on this menu that shows you this, but if you just hit right trigger, it moves your corner back to the inside, okay? So I'm just going to really get squirrely with this and get really, like, do things that really don't make sense. I'm going to move everybody to a bunch of random spots, just be stupid. And I'm going to show you here that, so I moved all 5 of my nickel personnel in my secondary. If I just hit triangle or Y and then right trigger, guess what? They're all going back to where they need to go. So you can move people as often as you want here and be able to reset it. If it's a coverage player you want to reset, it's triangle or Y and then right trigger, or R2. If it's linebackers, it's right on the D-pad and then left trigger. And obviously defensive linemen, you don't really move around too much. They're pretty much tethered to the line, so you can't really like just pick a lineman up, expect him to stay there. He always goes back to his spot. So there's little ways to get around that, but that's another video for another time. Now I'm going to show you guys a secret because I said that I've got something that's going to help making blitzing more effective for you. But first, what I want you guys to do is open up another tab and head over to gridirongameplans.gg. If any of this is useful to you, you are certain to love Gridiron Game Plans. In the first 2 weeks of the game, I have already put out 2 game plans. My full bunch tight end offense out of the Minnesota Vikings and my full match coverage Bible that I've been teaching odds and ends here on the channel for the first couple weeks. You guys have really liked these videos I've been putting out from a coverage perspective and a defensive perspective. I now have a base defense in the vault on the website, put that out on the 20th of August. So that would be yesterday. So make sure you guys go check out everything on the website. I've got almost 36 videos at this point in the vault, 30 videos in my offensive game plan, almost 30 in my defensive game plan. I mean, almost 100 videos in 2 weeks of the game being out. I worked my rear off. I hope you guys enjoy the content on the website. Make sure you guys join our Discord. I just put up our most recent Discord lab session on the website. So if you guys didn't attend, you guys can go and see what we covered in there. A lot of topics discussed. Definitely a lot of stuff on the website to help you guys out. So make sure you guys go subscribe and hop in our Discord and say hello. All right, a little 2-for-1 here. So I told you I was all about moving players around here in this video. So let's present an issue a lot of players have, myself included. I hate this about this game, but there's a workaround. Sometimes you're facing an offense like, let's say, empty, where you want to come out and maybe apply pressure. But because we don't have base align in this game anymore, the game will move linebackers out to cover threats. This is why empty's seen a little bit of an uptick this year, because we used to just base align the defense, and what it would do is it would just move everybody to a spot, and all the coverage players would kind of play in their spots, and the safeties would be in a safe position, and we had a blitz threat from that look. But that was when base align was a thing. Well, there's a little bit of a fake base align feature in this game. It's not even really that. What it is, it's the individual linebacker show blitz feature. If I were to pinch my linebackers by hitting right on the D-pad and down on the left analog stick, nothing happens because they have to guard those receivers. So if I shift left, if I shift right, if I spread, if I pinch, they don't respond to any of that because this particular coverage says no. Mid read needs to be out over that third receiver. Hook zone curl needs to be out over that left slot receiver. We can't do that in this example. Well, there's a workaround. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit right on the D-pad. And then if you take a look at the bottom right-hand corner of that user interface, right bumper says show blitz. If you hit this button, it is going to bring your linebackers into the box, into a position where now we can set up pressure. So in this case, we have the linebackers walked out over the right side. Obviously, if I were to flip this play, you're going to see some, some other things here. So in this case, we have a linebacker on the right, a linebacker on the left. If I hit right on the D-pad, right bumper, boom, they walk back in, and now they're showing blitz. This stacking of the box now allows for us to potentially bring pressure. So, you know, you have the ability here. I don't like this blitz angle for Anzalone, but in other defensive formations, you're going to be able to find pressure. One of the things that makes some defenses pretty unusable this year is the fact that you just can't keep your linebackers in a blitzing position. So for instance, like if I were in this 3-4 Cub and I had, you know, a setup where maybe my linebackers were like walking out. Let me see if I have a play where they're both in flats. I don't, but we got cover 3 skies. So in this case, you see here that that purple zone on the right is out there over that empty player. Well, and I also have the middle linebacker walked out over the third player on the right. Well, I could hit right on the D-pad, right bumper, and guess what? We're coming right back into a blitz look. Granted, this guy is a little bit, you know, further away than I'd like to be. Cub is weird, or this 3-4 Cub is weird, but imagine that in 3-4 odd, for instance, or a lot of times in 6-1. You know, in 6-1, you'll have, especially in, you know, these coverage defenses, you'll have these linebackers walked out. There's not much of a blitz threat from this zone look here. Maybe I just want to play a hard flat zone, but I want to scare my opponent. I know we're in empties, so there's no way to protect here, but if I were to go ahead and show blitz, now all of a sudden, guess what? This looks like a menacing pressure look where I can drop coverage or I can send pressure. That's the key, is the ability to make your opponent wonder which one you're doing. You don't necessarily have to only do this when you're pressuring. You could do this out of pretty much any defense just to provide the possibility of pressure. And that's enough that you can start to play chess with your opponent. If you show them this look, they might think, let's leave the running back in. If they leave the running back in, that's 4 guys running routes instead of 5. Now your 7-man coverage can guard 4 routes better than they can 5. You know, maybe they max protect because you occasionally send the crib. Now all of a sudden they're blocking their tight end and their running back. That's 3 routes they have on the field. You get them into that behavior, now all of a sudden you're dropping 7 in coverage, or maybe even 8 in coverage if you want to, against 3 routes on the field. That means that pretty much everybody's got at least 2 people on them. So just think about how this feature is going to help you guys out. So you guys can move people around. You guys can do so much stuff. And again, just because you show blitz doesn't mean you can't get out of it. If you want to get out of it, just clear shift and they'll go right back to their spots. Combine this feature with also this feature where you can also reset your coverage. And that's going to allow you to move players all over the field and not have to worry about clicking onto people and dragging them the entire time pre-snap. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit that notification bell, make sure you open up another tab and check out gridirongameplans.gg. You will win more games in Madden 26 regardless. So make sure you guys are here for free and check out the website if you don't mind. Link in the description. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab and good luck.